So, here we go, as promised. Let's see if I can get this thing to angle a little better. Sometimes it's hard to lighting and stuff, and cohiba smoke, and this and that and the other, and a little bit of weed smoke, and who knows what else. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the story of my first felony conviction. And actually, it's kind of like a double felony conviction, actually, because I had what I had done was I was younger. I was probably in my 20s. I had just started meeting people in the underworld, for lack of a better term, gangsters, real gangsters, not, street gangsters, like I always say, real gangsters, Whitey Bowler type people. I'm not saying I ever met Whitey, but I'm just saying, John Gotti type people. You know, um, I did meet John Jr. A couple of times, but I I didn't feel the same respect for him that I felt for his father, John Gotti Sr. But nevertheless, I digress. Anyway, what happened was I was younger, I was in my 20s. I had just gotten my first like nice car. When I was 16, my dad gave me a 1978 Cutlass Supreme. Had the 350 in it. He had actually put a 350 in it. Had the T-top. My dad was a huge car guy, so this car was amazing. Had, about 600 horsepower. Beautiful car, taken care of immaculately. And he gave it to me when I was too young to have, and I consequently wrecked the car. So, being that I had just started making some money with some people and stuff, I thought, hey, I'll go get myself a nice new ride. So, I went out and I got a BMW 745i. Now, here's where the story gets funny, because you'd think somebody who has enough money for that would have enough money for gas. And I did have enough money for gas, I just didn't want to go to the gas station. And I was staying actually with family at the time, and they had gone on vacation, so it was just me and my dogs. And my girlfriend, or random girls, whatever. I was working in nightclubs too at the time, so there was a lot of random girls around. Anyway, what happened was I didn't have enough money, or I didn't have enough gas. Excuse me, I had plenty of money. I didn't have gas to get to where I was going and back. So, since my family was out of town, I took another one of the family vehicles, thinking, hell, what could, I don't see the problem in it. But my thinking, or whatever, has been kind of flawed my whole life. Anyway, as you guys know, I always I always have a gun with me. It's not because I think it's cool. It's not because I like to pull it. It's not because I like to show it off. It's because the life that I've led, even though I haven't done things like that in a long time, I still have enemies out there somewhere who would like to get a hold of me. People. I won't name names or clubs or anything like that. Just people. There's still people out there that don't like me. So I always have a gun with me, which, again, in itself isn't good because I'm a felon. I'm not supposed to have one. But you know what? I'd rather shoot somebody and save my life than, go to, either get killed or go to jail for having a gun as a felon. So, anyway, I have a gun with me. So, anyway, I went where I was going. I was on my way home. I got pulled over. And, ironically enough, the highway patrolman was a guy that worked out at the gym that I worked out at, and he knew me, and he knew who I was. He knew that I was kind of connected and this and that. And he said to me, "Do you have any drugs in the car?" I said, "No, man. I don't any drugs except for steroids, and that didn't bother him or anything like that. And I had a little bit of weed." And so he said, "Do you mind if I search the car?" And I said, "Well, normally I'd say no, but since I know you, sure." And unbeknownst to me, and nobody ever believes this, but I really didn't know there was a deagle under the seat. Deagle is what is the common term for a desert eagle. It's a huge hand cannon. This one happened to be 50 caliber, 50 caliber Desert Eagle under the seat. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know whose gun it was, because I had a Desert Eagle. I had two at one point, but I had a gunmetal one and a all chrome one, and this one was black, so I'm not sure whose it was. Anyway, he found that. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "Dude, I didn't know." Of course he didn't believe that. Whatever. Probably would not have believed it myself. But anyway, so anyway, I go to jail, obviously, for charges of. Now here's the kicker. I got charged with Grand Theft Auto, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, which basically translates into carjacking, because they said the car was stolen and I used, and anyway, you get it. And they charged me with each bullet in the gun, and they offered me, I think it was 6 years they offered me, and I didn't want to take 6 years. I didn't think that was a fair trade, because I hadn't, it wasn't my gun. I didn't, the only thing I did wrong was take the car without asking, and whatever. So anyway, I'm in jail. Go to my arraignment. Arraignment's nothing, all you do is enter a plea, and that's it, and then you go back for your BLOR hearing, and it just so happened that it was me and one other guy. And I think I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it was my first, major attempt at taking someone else's life. I didn't succeed in this particular case, but I did try to kill this guy. And the reason being is he was a child molester. And I grew up around Italian mobsters, Irish mobsters. I grew up around basically the streets, the streets. So anyway, I was handcuffed in front, and they sat us in the jury box, and they sat me way over on the far left, on the upper. They had 2 rows of seats, and I was in the uppers, and he was on the far right on the lower seats. Well, who knows why? I have no idea why they would do this to this guy, but they decided to read his charges before mine, which alerted me that he was a child molester, a sex offender. So my first thought was I should kill this guy. And I know that may not be most people's first thought, but I had just had my daughter. She was maybe 4, 5, 6 years old at the time. I don't know. She was young, but so anyway, my thought was, if I can get over there and wrap my handcuffs around his neck and put my knee in the back of his neck, or the small of his back, or the upper of his back, I could basically smash his trachea here, with my cuff chains. And so when I saw the opportunity, I jumped up and I ran over and I wrapped my cuffs around his neck and I put my knee in his back and I pulled as hard as I could, waiting for that snap, waiting for that snap. And before the snap came, obviously I was tackled, pepper sprayed, tased, blah, 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 blah. Shit. What else would you expect, obviously? Anyway. I ironically didn't get any extra time for that because he didn't press charges against me because he knew that if he did, there would be much retaliation against him, from like my crew, myself personally, whatever, whoever, That's why I have this TCB on my finger there, It stands for taking care of business. And I've always been known for taking care of business. I do it my own way. Not always right, not always wrong. But anyway, that was that was the first person I tried to kill because he was a sex offender. So when we got sent back to our pods, I was in Max obviously because of who I was. That's the thing. It's like most people they like, who are you? Who are you in the comments? Who are you? Who are you? You're a big guy. Are you a pro bodybuilder? This, that, whatever. Da 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 da. No. Who I am is I got into bodybuilding. I got big, and all of a sudden, people started asking me if I wanted to do security type jobs. Next thing I knew, I was doing bodyguarding jobs. Next thing I knew, I was doing debt collecting, and it just kind of spiraled. I met people that I never thought I would meet. I was working in a club in Hollywood. I won't name the club because it's still, I believe, owned by the same cartel, so I won't name them or any names personally. But anyway, they asked me and a few of the other guys if we would be interested in going down to Mexico for a weekend, doing a job, easy 20K, do the job. There's 4 of us. Yeah, there was 4 of us. No, there was 3 of us and the guy that was kind of like, I guess, the guy that asked if we wanted to go, lead or whatever you want to call him. I don't know. I'm not in the cartel. I'm a white guy. But they knew that I was about my shit. So they said, hey, we'll give you guys 20 grand each. Go down to Mexico, do this job, 20K. And while I was there, I met people, one gentleman who's in the news all over now, which was El Chapo. I met El Chapo. And let me tell you something. I was scared to fucking death. I mean, I've always been a big guy. They took my pistol, obviously. They wouldn't let anyone, his people wouldn't let anyone near him if they were armed because they thought maybe, we'd be assassins or something. I don't know. Anyway, I was scared to death, man. I met El Chapo, and he was a good guy. He was a nice guy. He was at least nice to me, Anyway, we did the job. We got our money. We went home, and since then, I've been back down and done a few other jobs down in Mexico for good pay. I've probably made roughly about $250,000 doing jobs in Mexico. And that's changed now that all the stuff's, it's not so easy to smuggle, it's not so easy to do this, not so easy to do that, and, the cops down there want more money if you, take somebody out, they want more money. Anyway, that's how that goes. But anyway, I've probably made a good $250,000 from jobs in Mexico, working for these guys. And again, just like I don't claim to be part of a bike club, I'm obviously not a member of a cartel. I'm a white guy. So what happened from that was I got a little bit of notoriety because other people heard, other guys, heard, you know, this guy, this Angel guy and his crew are pretty efficient. They get things done. They get the job done. And we've done jobs for anywhere from gangsters to little old ladies who've been ripped off by asshole. One instance that comes to mind was this nice little old lady who needed a roof on her house. The contractor completely ripped her off. I happen to know like her great grandson or grandson or something like that, and he, one night we were sitting around the clubhouse, and he was telling me this story, and I said, "Well, fuck that, that's bullshit. Let's go get her money." And so we did. We went and handled that, and I won't go into any more detail on that, but yeah, we got her money. But yeah, I've gotten some, the people ask me these questions, who are you? And I guess the best answer is I'm a gangster without a gang. I'm not a gang member, but I consider myself a gangster. But that's a loose term to me, because when I was growing up in the 90s, a gangster was like a gangbanger, saggy pants, whatever, but to me a gangster is an Armani suit, a nice tie, a pocket square, a nice fedora, uh, you know, uh, you know, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, Finny shoes, Prada, Gucci, stuff like that. That was gangster to me. And you know, the only legit jobs I've ever worked in my life was like security and private security and stuff like that. So what I knew how to do, and what I still know how to do, is fuck people up, one way or another, either mentally, emotionally, or physically. And that's what I'm good at. I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying that's what I'm good at. So that's just one story. That's just one story of my first attempted murder of a sex offender. And I guess it all kind of started there, and later on it gets better. So prepare for more, hopefully entertaining stories from my days in jails and prisons, and around these colorful characters in my life. I call them characters because they're so unique, so unique. Anyway, until next time, signing off, and God bless, stay safe, and if anyone fucks with your family, kill them.